Today is May 13, 12:21 a.m. It has occurred to me that um, it has occurred to me that there is a psychological thing that is prohibiting me from enforcing a stop loss and take profit uh, points. It is a psychological thing uh, because there is a subconscious thought that is blocking me from enforcing that uh, that uh, setup. I think the primary reason is because I'm thinking to myself on a small level, on a minor level, that when I make a trade, the the efficacy of my winning days are impacted if I were to set rigid take profit targets. And I've seen this before because the drawdown will be so significant. And once that drawdown has been reached and it returns, then that's when profit occurs. So many of the trades that I'm successful in will be unsuccessful because if I were to set the take profit, then that trade will never be able to survive the drawdown. And then once the drawdown has been depleted, then it goes in the right direction. When it goes in the right direction, then it overcomes that drawdown and becomes profitable. But if I were to be stopped out, then that trade becomes null and void, and that small loss represents the whole trade. And therefore, that is a concern that I have in my trading. However, when I suffer a big loss because I do not have stop loss enforced, because it takes work to set those numbers. It's not a number that is willy-nilly thrown out. It is a number based on the probability of the stock retracing. And that retracing of the high probability has to be under the radar, or has to be bounded within the stop loss, and therefore that part of it needs to be reasoned out. So that's the reasoning behind, and I think it's probably because most of it is due to just being laziness. Because I'm saying to myself, most of the cases, about 80% of the time, my trades are successful. However, when those 80% are successful and I accumulate the capital within that stretch of time, all of a sudden the next trade erases that trade, then essentially that's going to cause my account to just deplete, because it essentially erases everything that I made. So the idea is to now, um, after having reviewed and believing now, it has to be believed. If I don't believe it, then I'm saying to myself, look, it's working part of the time. So what if there are situations where my trades are losing big? Uh, I'm just trading it anyway, and if I get lucky, then I should be able to have a long stretch of time where my trade will be successful. Again, that reasoning is not making sense whatsoever. Because what I'm saying to myself is that, so what is this detachment? So there is a detachment in reasoning in my trading that causes me to be lazy, and that laziness is enforced at a long stretch of trading periods where I forego the required thing that will prevent my account from becoming eradicated or erased. essentially what I made will essentially be erased. So 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 I've come to this point now, and in the past I would be extremely upset, and I would be frustrated, and I would be shocked. Okay, I would be shocked at the fact that uh, I would be successful for about a week or two in net, and the losses are small because somehow, even though I didn't set my stop losses, I was able to reduce my losses and exit the trade because the day was mild and it was fairly near where my setup was outlined and used, and therefore the losses were small because the market allowed my trade to be small. Now, but in those cases, in certain cases where the market decides to essentially just go uh, huge magnitude in the other direction, which is a common occurrence, especially with 80/20. If even if right now my winning percentage is 80% and loss is 20%. So for those 20%, that 20% represents essentially just erasing my account because that 20% represents the totality of the gains that I made and then some for that period. Therefore, even though I am 80% successful, that 20% is essentially erasing my gains. So, what I need to do, what I need to do is define. I have to reason things out now. I see and need to be aware because trading is so simple. I don't have to do anything. Click and then and many of the cases I get very lucky, especially when I'm enforcing price action to view things, but without setting the specific stop losses and take profit points, then it's going to be a long, repeating journey. It's essentially going around in a merry-go-round, or getting on a treadmill and treading as fast as possible, but going nowhere. Because I cannot enforce a greater capital investiture into my trading because my trades are essentially sporadic. It is not consistently profitable, and that's the reason why. So this current situation needs to change. It needs to change now. And the fact is, I am extremely fortunate that despite the lack in my interpersonal skills, that I'm given the opportunity to earn a wage, and the community is so kind in supporting the owners so that the owners can employ somebody like myself, such that I can perpetuate and essentially, in the end, be able to become a consistently profitable day trader. That is the goal that I have, and that is the direction that I'm moving towards. And I've specifically made it a priority for me to spend more time uh, uh, studying and being a professional day trader. That's the direction that I'm going. Therefore, now the the art the art of setting the stop loss and the take profit and understanding the magnitude of how much the stock moves is critical. I have to understand. I have to do research to understand the behavior of the stock when I make that trade. Obviously, when I make a if I were to set the take profit and stop loss limits uh, on a stock like Tesla, then that's going to be different than setting a stop loss take profit limits uh, on Amazon or Google or this or Apple in generally speaking. Um, Although generally speaking, Google has been moving quite a bit recently. Now, if I were to take consider those points, then and calculating the stop loss and take profit points uh, is essentially, it seems to be an art, but there has to be some sort of reasoning behind that. And one of the factors that I need to use, these are information that's available. So obviously, when the stock has an average trading range is already known, and I am and that goes into defining, I suppose, the band, take profit kind of a situation, because it could fluctuate so much, right? Average trading range. It could. So if I were to set a very tight stop loss, then obviously it's going to be triggered, because the way that for instance, Tesla, the way that it moves is because the magnitude is so significant that if it slightly moves against me in a certain day, it's a significant number. Whereas if I am trading like Apple, obviously the volatility is smaller on that stock, and so the movement is slower, and so the stop loss can be set tighter than Tesla. So I have that idea in day trading. I have that reasoning in setting the stop loss. Now, take profit and also the stop loss is also uh, related to the support and resistance and the trend. So how is that related? So the support is going to tell me uh, if I'm going long. Okay, if I'm going long, then the support is going to tell me where my stop loss is going to be. And based on the average trading range of the stock, then that also tells me what kind of a little bit guard banding that I need to use to create a higher probability that when it is hovering around where the support is, that if I set the stop loss, then it's not going to be triggered by the errant moves that it has. Also, when I set my take profit point, then I need to set it based on resistance, somewhere near resistance, so that I could maximize my trade, and I can set it and on a statistical basis, without intermediary move between the two time periods. Then if that is minimal, then I have a high probability that is going to, when I set that sell point, then it's going to get triggered, and I should be able to make money off of that. So this has so after having traded for about a couple years and questioned myself to understand the behavior of the stock, and the way that the way that I trade, uh, and to now finally, and seriously remove these events where my account essentially becomes uh, fluctuates so much that whatever I make is essentially on a period basis is erased. So that's the critical part of day trading now. Now that I've delved into it, now that I've seen a lot of the day traders that are trading now, uh, I've seen uh, I've seen so many traders looking at this, and I've been looking at professional day traders, and So what I need to do is move in that direction as well. So now I'm going to practice. I'm going to practice moving into the couple of directions that I have, which is essentially moving with the FTMO trading account. And then my small personal account is still alive. I took a big, nasty hit the past couple of days. Um, but that is the direction I'm taking, and I'm looking forward to finally moving into a consistently profitable day trader status. That's where I am, and that's where I'm moving, and that's how things will be.